So that'd be going toward their radar and away like that.
Exactly.
So we're getting signatures on both radars, both the Live Super Doppler 4 HD, but this is close enough to the Columbia radar that we can tap into that as well. And this is going right over I-26 as we speak right now. Let's put a storm track on this as it pulls off toward the north and east pretty quickly. In fact, we want to put you guys on alert in Union County because this line will quickly be approaching the county line shortly. All right, putting a storm track on it. It is booking it toward the north, northeast. You folks in Whitmire need to go ahead and be in your safe place. Cromer Crossroads, 205. Whitmire at 211. This is really moving fast. So get to your safe place there in Whitmire, Delta 215, and if it continues on its same path, 222 for parts of Carlisle. This continues to be the strongest rotation we've seen so far in the past hour or so, right, John?
Yeah, absolutely. We've had some pretty good circulations across our area, even from this morning through this afternoon, but most of them were very broad. This is the tightest we've seen by far, and now the circulation here has already crossed, potential tornado already crossed Interstate 26 and is moving quickly off to the northeast at about 50 miles per hour. So it is moving very quickly. So that's the reason why, if you live in Newberry County, especially now the northern part of Newberry County, you need to move to your safe room right now, immediately. You can't wait for this because it's moving so fast, and in a matter of seconds, it could be on top of you. So the safest place is to go inside, go into an interior room with no windows where you'll be protected from glass and flying objects and debris. Seek a shelter immediately, obviously. If you are outside, hurry to the basement of a nearby building, or if you know of a friend or one of your neighbors has a well-constructed home, you can give them a call, see if they're home, and get there before the storm hits. Especially if you live in a mobile home, you need to get out of your mobile home and look for either a low-lying ditch, or if you have a friend or a family member that has a well-constructed home, you need to call them and see if you can get there very quickly. Not something that's far away, maybe just in your neighborhood itself. Do not try to outrun a tornado in your car. Automobiles can be tossed around by the extremely high winds. After the storm passes, be sure to watch out for fallen power lines. Stay out of the damaged areas. Stay tuned, obviously, for us here on the air on WYFF 4, both on air and off air. We will certainly keep you updated. And Chris and I will keep you updated on this. Still pretty impressive looking circulation, Chris. And it is moving so quickly. It's basically still maybe right over Interstate 26 and moving very, very fast. That is by far the strongest circulation we've had right now, right through here, right over I-26. So if you know anybody that's heading south on Interstate 26, maybe out of Lawrence County, headed to Newberry County, tell them to maybe pull off side of the road, wait a little while, make sure this tornado has passed if it's on the ground. Same story if you're coming up from Columbia on 26 through Newberry County. You may want to call your friends and tell them just to stay. So right through here and here, just stay put. Wait just a few more minutes because it'll be past Interstate 26. We also have more tornado warnings off to our south. Also on Interstate 26 right here by Orangeburg. Orangeburg's under a tornado warning right now, and that cell's pretty close to Interstate 26, just to the east of Orangeburg. So it's really these cells that are developing within this main line that's off to our east. Once that leaves us, we're going to be in pretty good shape. So if we can get through you folks in Newberry County, this could eventually move into maybe the southeastern, eastern part of Union County, Chester County, York County, as we go through this afternoon. So if you live in Union County, Chester, or York counties, you want to be on alert. There's no warning for you right now, but these nasty cells are moving very quickly in your direction. And we still have the flash flood warnings out here. A lot of lightning with this band, but so far this band has not been severe, but it is producing more heavy rain in an area that doesn't need any more rain. You can see the green boxes. These are all flash flood warnings which continue. We still have a threat for mudslides and landslides, especially in the mountains. Look how much rain has fallen in these areas. Over 6 inches of rain, over 6 inches, almost 7 inches has fallen in Seneca. So an extremely heavy rainfall. So we got some more updates. Chris, let's go back to Chris.
Looks like we got 2 areas of rotation now that are a concern in parts of Newberry County. This a concern as it moves towards you folks in Union County. I want to go ahead and put you on alert there in Union County. You need to be seeking shelter because this line is moving very quickly toward the south and east. We've got 2 areas now that are rotating, and this rotation, as John mentioned, the strongest that we've seen so far out of any of our storms today, right over. Now it looks like it's crossed I-26, but this is some extremely strong rotation near Fairfield, Newberry County until 245. Located near Newberry, near the Newberry County Airport, moving northeast at 35 miles per hour. Radar also indicates that another possible tornado may be northeast of Newberry, near 176 and South Carolina 34 Crossroads. So let's look at that there, John. 176 and 34 Crossroads. That'd be that rotation right there. That's it. There's two rotating thunderstorms right in there. One near Browns Crossroads, another one near just north of Beth Eden. Both of which would be moving north into Union County.
Wow, look how close they are.
Right by side each other.
They're right next to each other.
John, that's kind of concerning. Twin vortices there that are kind of like just spinning right next to each other.
Boy, and that one cell, Chris, is heading right for you folks in Whitmire. You need to take cover. Even though Whitmire officially you are not under, are you under the warning? Yeah, I guess you are. That warning goes for you folks in Whitmire. That is very close. So you folks in Whitmire need to take cover immediately as a cell is moving quickly off to the north-northeast. It's moving very fast. It's moving up to 50 to 50 miles per hour, so it is moving very quickly. Again, this warning may, if this cell continues to stay this strong and this strong as far as rotation, I wouldn't be surprised to see the National Weather Service extend the warning. In fact, they are going to extend the warning. Chris just mentioned, looking at the chat from the National Weather Service, they'll probably extend this up into you folks in Union County. So you folks in Carlisle, get ready to go to your safe room here very quickly once this cell moves into Union County. Right now it's in Newberry County. And again, Chris, that is just the strongest, by far the strongest circulation we've had as far as rotation. Just north now, it has already passed Interstate 26 and heading up toward you folks in Whitmire. What's the latest there, Chris?
This is becoming a dangerous situation in Newberry County. Very likely this could be a tornado on the ground north of I-26. The circulation continues to get stronger. You will be under a tornado warning shortly in Union County. You need to be seeking shelter in Whitmire, Carlisle, up toward the north and east. This is very likely a tornado on the ground. The circulation, the tightest the National Weather Service has seen today, is the most concerning storm right now on Live Super Doppler 4 HD. In fact, there you go. A new tornado warning just issued here for Union and Chester counties. This would be southern Union County, John, and this cell will cross the county line very shortly. Let's put a storm tracker on this, because if this is a tornado on the ground moving toward the northeast into Union County, the possible tornado could be in Whitmire at 214, Delta at 218, and 224 in Carlisle. John, this is a very dangerous situation. It moved right over I-26 and moving toward the northeast very quickly.
It certainly is. And it's by far the strongest rotation we've had from any of the thunderstorm cells so far. And you can see you folks in Whitmire is going to be there shortly. So there's our new tornado warning now for you folks in the southern part of Union County. Wow, that's just incredible. 50 knots of rotation. Wow, that is about as tight. That is one of the strongest rotations we've had that I've seen in a long time. This is actually pretty scary here. That is most likely a tornado on the ground right there in Newberry County and moving quickly off the northeast. So we're talking about winds going toward the radar site, and so this is what we're looking at right here, the counterclockwise circulation, very close just off to your east in Cromer Crossroads. And heading up toward, what is that, I-76? Is that
176,
correct?
yep.
176, and then moving quickly off to the northeast. Let's pull back just a little bit so we can see Whitmire, which is right here, very close to you. Go ahead and put that in motion, would you, Chris, for me, please? Let's see. Looks like it's going to be so close to you folks in Whitmire. It's a close call. You should stay cover immediately. Anyway, you should go to your safe room just in case, because it's going to be very close. And some of these tornadoes, if they're this strong, and it certainly looks like a strong one, if it does, it can sometimes be very strong and kind of turn maybe a little bit to the left. So we have to watch that closely. It could go left or it could go right just briefly. So either way, it's going to come up here and heading for you folks in Carlisle in Union County. So the tornado warning now for you folks in Newberry County has been extended farther north, with this strong thunderstorm cell possibly producing a tornado into you folks in Union County. And that's Union County, South Carolina. This is not North Carolina. It looks like it also does include the southwestern part of Chester County, and that's again heading up into possibly Chester County. Chris has got some more information.
John, National Weather Service noting that this rotation just strengthened. We're seeing it on Live Super Doppler 4 HD as well. 52 knots of rotation right now. Wow. John, this is very likely a tornado on the ground moving out of Newberry County into Union County. The strongest rotation that we've seen so far today, now approaching you folks in Whitmire. You need to be seeking shelter. This is a very dangerous situation, moving very quickly toward the north. Let's zoom into street level here. There's 176. There's Easton Crossroads. The tornado will likely cross over Highway 66 very shortly, the intersection of Highway 66 and 176, and then it approaches Delta, and then next on the path would be up toward the Union County line. So it is very, very close to the Union-Newberry County line. You need to be seeking shelter right now. This rotation, as strong as we have seen it, it is getting stronger. John, this is turning into a very dangerous situation across across Newberry and Union County.
Absolutely, Chris. You know, and we were watching this throughout the last half hour, just getting stronger and stronger. And we were waiting for the warning to be issued from the Columbia National Weather Service office, and they finally issued the warning. And this thing just gets stronger and stronger. The last scan showed it weakening a little bit, Chris. Just a little bit. Can you put that into motion, Chris, briefly? I know you're busy over there getting some more information in the Weather Center. You've got something else going on?
Saying, yeah.
Oh, 56 miles per hour in, or is that knots?
Knots.
56
sorry.
knots inbound, 52 knots outbound. Boy, that is still strong. But notice the last frame. Of course, it might even be getting tighter. Let's zoom into that a little bit tighter, Chris. I'm just wondering if the bright reds and the bright greens, see, this was very, very strong there. Now go ahead and put it into motion and watch how just over the last frame, yeah, it's still pretty, there you go. See the last
Does look like it tries to do a little drop off.
Yeah, last scan, maybe it's trying to weaken maybe a little bit, but not much.
Looks like we're getting some debris possibly on the radar. That could be impacting the scan there.
That could, absolutely, absolutely. In fact, let's see if there's showing up anything on that. A lot of times this is a new element of from what we have in the National Weather Service. It's really hard to tell. That's going to be tough, but. Let's go back to that. So that tornado warning still continues for you folks in Newberry and also in through Union counties because of this one impressive-looking cell well off to your north. So you folks in Newberry County, in the town, you're okay. This cell went right over Interstate 26, and there's a possible tornado right here, right along, looks like Highway 174. Is that correct, Chris? And it's still heading right for you folks in Whitmire. You need to go to your safe room immediately. And do not wait for this cell because it's moving quickly off the north-northeast at up to 50 miles per hour. So it is moving very, very quickly. So you don't have time to sit there and wait and say, well, I've got a little... No, you need to go now because this could be upon you within the next 2 or 3 minutes. And then it's going to move up into Union County, and you folks in Carlisle, you're in the path of this potential tornado that possibly is on the ground. Still, the circulation is weakening just over the last frame a little bit, Chris. And what that could actually mean is maybe it's a funnel cloud now. Maybe it's going aloft just briefly, but it's still such a strong situation as far as the storm intensity that even if it comes aloft up into the clouds briefly, it could also come back down just as fast. So the next scan might actually show it intensifying. But right now it's showing some signs of weakening, maybe going through a little bit of a phase.
That's what we're seeing here, John. In fact, if you look back at this as it crossed over I-26, it looks like it was the strongest back then. Right there, that bright indication on live Super Doppler 4 HD could in fact be some debris being lofted into the storm right there, which would be about 204. So it looks like as it crossed over I-26, that's when it was the strongest. You get a flare up of velocity right there, and then if you tilt up toward the GSP and Live Super Doppler 4 HD combo there, looks like it's really bright there at 203, 204, right there. Man, that is some really strong rotation. Let's go to where it's currently at. It looks like it has weakened dramatically. Looks like that very likely could have been a tornado right there on the ground, but it has just really weakened its rotation, moving toward Whitmire right now. But like John, you just mentioned, we've seen these flare up, flare back down, and that's what these cells will do is they'll go in cycles here. Yeah,
let's and that's why we can't let our guard down, because even though it may be weakening the cell itself just briefly, and it's very close to, if not on top of you folks in Whitmire, it could easily re-intensify very quickly and become a tornado on the ground. So it may be even a funnel cloud right now. Either way, you do not want to take pictures or look outside. You need to be in your safe room right now as this cell moves quickly over you folks in Whitmire and then moving up into you folks in Carlisle in Union County. Let's go ahead and pull back out a little bit. I know you're looking over some stuff over there in the Weather Center, Chris. We'll pull it out and show the rest of us what's going on. It's really this embedded cell that's in this whole broad area of showers and very heavy thunderstorms that are moving through Columbia and heading toward the I-77 corridor, heading up toward the Charlotte area. Then, as you can see, west of it, we're in pretty good shape in Lawrence, Greenwood, Spartanburg, Greenville, Anderson, also back into Abbeville. And then we have this last line, which is associated with the cold front. And this is some very heavy thunderstorms, but they are not severe. But you're going to get some gusty winds, lots of lightning, some very heavy rain, and it's going to unfortunately move over the same area that's under a flash flood warning. So we don't need any more rain. and that could cause even more problems. Some of the rivers and streams are running extremely high right now in through most of the western part of the upstate and through Oconee County back into northeastern Georgia. This is how much rainfall. And we're talking 3 to 6 plus inches of rain easily. Got reports almost 7 inches of rain has fallen around the Seneca area. Look at this, 6.5 inches in southeastern part of Stevens County in northeastern Georgia. So very heavy rain all the way up into North Carolina and through Travelers, in through Transylvania County and also Henderson County. We remain under flash flood warning. So big concern here, and we could see some mudslides, and maybe especially in through Hendersonville. Especially in Henderson County, Transylvania County, we could see some mudslides and possibly even some landslides. So rainfall is a big concern to our west, and of course the line to our east is the potential for severe weather, Chris. So we're watching it closely, that's for sure.
Yeah, in fact, the National Weather Service continuing this tornado warning into Union County. In fact, you got a couple of spots on here that are rotating. Remember, we said there could have been 2 vortices, 2 spin-ups there, and that's what we're observing here across parts of
I'm wondering if they're converging cells.
That could have impacted the 2 of them moving together. That's right, John. When school kids ask us this a lot, what happens when you get 2 spin-ups next to each other? Well, they actually try to weaken each other because a tornado wants an environment all by itself. And you can look at this back toward the north now. It looks like it's approaching very quickly Whitmire. That's where that strongest rotation is, right on the Union-Newberry County line. Looks like that rotation is right over Whitmire, but thankfully it has broadened quite a bit as it moves toward the east. That's right, John. That continues to be the strongest rotation that we see. Getting new information here from the National Weather Service. They're going to look over a couple more scans here to see how this behaves once it gets into Union County. Let's look at the radar because that'll give us an idea of what the environment's like there.
Oh, Chris, can you do me a favor? Can you go back to the velocities again, please? And I just noticed something when you were talking. Go north of the Whitmire one up in through Union County, just south of Union. Look at that little circulation there.
Yeah.
You zoom into that.
Look at that. It looks like they're trying to impact each other.
Like something else going on there. Maybe another little cell developing just very close to you folks in Union. And you're close to that tornado warning. So you may want to go to your safe room just in case that cell starts to developing. Now you can go back to you. I'm sorry, Chris.
Oh, that's good, John. Yeah, look, you can see it on the radar. It looks like those 2 almost converged right there, right over Union. It's moving toward the east, toward Carlisle. So it looks like that is both of those cells. Yeah, look at that. Again, these are rain wrap, like John mentioned. I mean, these are just moving toward the northeast very quickly. Look at that, John. You have 2 areas that are looking at, and National Weather Service just saying that they're noticing a convergent rotation southeast of Union. Technically a tornado warning, but not seeing the same location as the other warning. So we've got 2 cells that are rotating, and both are impacting each other. Like we mentioned earlier, anytime you have 2 that are spinning up, they impact each other to weaken each other. But this one right here seems like it's kind of taking a life form of its own there south of Union, which technically that might become our stronger part of the system, right, John?
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to have to watch them both closely because this one's starting to get stronger and stronger. Some pretty good rotation. I just noticed that just moments ago. Very close to you folks in Union, and this cell is moving quickly off to the north, as you can see. So this one's just now developing with some pretty good circulation. So if you live in the town of Union and also in Whitmire, you need to go to your safe room now. Even though you're not in that red box, this cell is developing very quickly. And as Chris mentioned, look at that last scan, Chris. Whoa. It's gotten stronger. So the Weather Service is watching this very closely. We'll see whether or not they decide to put out a warning for this. It's getting a little bit tighter, the couplet here, as you can see in Union County. This is just south of you folks in the town of Union, right here. This would be our strongest circulation right in through here, just off to your southeast and moving quickly off to the north, heading toward, looks like Highway 49, I do believe. And then here's that second one that we've been watching that came out of Newberry County, and now it's moving into the extreme southern part of Union County. So we got those 2 cells that we're talking about. It's pretty interesting. They're so close to each other, but yet still far enough away where they're not going to actually bother the circulation very much. So this one's becoming more broad, which is good news, Chris. Much broader circulation and not as strong as it was just about, a half hour ago.
Yeah, that's right, John. That Monarch Mills Union County sign definitely starting to pick back up here. That one there actually looks to be taking on the strongest life form there.
That one's getting stronger.
Just south and east of you folks in Union right there. Let's put a track on that. And that's moving toward the northeast, John, which would get the tail end of Cherokee County, south and east of you folks in Gaffney. So that one definitely is getting stronger. You've got 2 areas that are rotating right there. And, John, That one that we were watching out of Newberry County is actually starting to strengthen as well. Let's put 2 storm tracks on this because we have 2 possible tornado sails here. One south and east of Union County pushing toward the east. Put a track on it. It'll be a Monarch at 221, Adamsburg at 225, Kelton at 228, and then Surratt there in Cherokee County at 233. That cell does appear to be rotating. We've also got another cell that moved out of Newberry County, which very likely could have been a tornado. That rotation, some of the strongest we've seen in a long time, John. This one in the southern part that is starting to show signs of strengthening, moving toward Delta at 220, Carlisle at 227, and then Lockhart at 240. We're watching those very closely. And John, looking at Doppler radar, it's interesting to see that these cells are kind of off by themselves now. There's nothing, it's not a line, it's not embedded in a whole lot of rain. So those two are kind of taking on a life form of their own. And thankfully, this line back to our west is behaving. It's got some heavy rainfall with it, but nothing's rotating on it, and even the winds are not that strong either. But Union County under the gun right now for the strongest.
Right, and you folks in Cherokee County, you need to be on the alert just in case. That's still the same warning. I just heard the bells. Any more information, Chris?
Newberry County, you were in the clear.
Newberry County, you're in the clear now. That cell now has moved up and through Union County. So you folks in Newberry County, but you still remain under a severe thunderstorm warning, but you are not under a tornado warning anymore. And again, we get that break, and then we have this last band of very, very heavy thunderstorms, lots of lightning, some gusty winds, but not expecting anything severe out of this. This is just going to cause more problems for the places that have had already 3 to 6 plus inches of rain. It's going to move over the ground that's completely saturated. So this is just going to make a real mess as far as the rivers and streams are running extremely high right now. So severe thunderstorm warnings continue. That warning that for Union County, Chris, that goes until when? Is that 2:45?
Let me check.
That tornado warning. Let's see.
Yep, 2:45.
Yeah, 2:45. Okay, and it does include the extreme southwestern part of Chester County, and it's in the central and eastern part of Union County. So even though it's just off to your east in Union, it's pretty interesting. They put this warning out for this cell down here, but this one actually is developing and is actually staying inside that cone of the tornado warning. So we've got 2 potential tornadoes, one here east-southeast of Union, and this one right between Whitmire and Carlisle, and both moving very quickly off to the north-northeast at about 45 to 50 miles per hour. So 2 pretty good circulations. Any reports of any damage or anything, Chris?
So far, no reports of damage. They're noting the fact that there are 2 impacts here to the tornado warning box in Union County. In fact, the original warning went out for this cell that moved out of Newberry County, but then this cell over Union, the city, actually took on kind of a life form of its own and became the stronger of the 2. This one near Carlisle still has some strong winds going toward the radar. The winds going away from the radar aren't as strong. Same story with Union. This one appears to be broadening, but still a precarious situation here in Union County. Both of these cells appear to be rotating. And looking at the Doppler radar, I'll pause it. Both of those are kind of off by themselves. Quite a strong storm. Let's slice this in half to see how high it's going, because if this could tap into some of that wind shear in the upper parts of the atmosphere, and look at that, that's a pretty strong cell, John, going up to about 25,000 feet. And you have to look at our atmosphere right now. You go up past anywhere really 20,000 feet or above, it's tapping into that wind shear, and that's likely what we're seeing here as this cell is tapping into that incredible amount of wind energy in the atmosphere and beginning to rotate. So that one over Union appears to be the stronger of the 2 cells. Let me pull back out here and we'll look at it as it's moving on through, because, John, that rotation is still evident. Really still 2 sets of rotations.
Yep.
Right there over Carlisle and Union.
Yeah, this one looks like it's become a little bit broader. In fact, they both become a little bit broad. Actually, the Union, one just east of Union, the town of Union now seems to be a little bit tighter, but not as strong of rotation. What do you got there? You got some more information, Chris?
The Charlotte radar is indicating about some pretty significant shear there in Union. So really watching this one. This one appears to be showing some signs of some trouble. Which, if this one were to continue moving toward the east, it's on Highway 103 as we speak. And again, it could be rain. What could be impacting our view of it from this side of the cell is all this rain west of it there.
That's going to be rain wrapped.
It's going to be rain wrapped there. And this is moving toward the north and east, John. It could clip parts of Cherokee County. Let's put a track on it here for you. It's moving north-northeast. Be in Adamsburg at 228, Surratt at 235, Hoodtown at 239, and Abingdon at about 243. And John will have to watch that one very closely.
Right, and that's going to go right into possibly Cherokee County and maybe even the western part of York County, well to the west of you folks in York and also in Clover. So some pretty good circulation still right there. It's getting a little bit tighter now. Just the last scan, this is much better than it was before, Chris. And right here's our circulation.
Sure is.
This is right along Highway 49. Is that correct? 49?
Yep.
Right along 49. So this is inside the tornado warning. So the tornado warning still continues for about the next 20 minutes or so for you folks in Union County, South Carolina. Because there's a Union County, North Carolina, and it's not for you. Let's go ahead and pull on back a little bit, Chris, if we can, and see if
it just included Cherokee, John.
They just included Cherokee now. They've just now
it'll be issued any moment now.
Okay, and that's because of this cell still kind of getting its act together right now, and because it's going to do that, they're going to go ahead and for parts, probably the southeastern part of Cherokee County, you're going to go under a warning. There it is. Boom. So now we have the warning. This goes until when, Chris? Probably same time, maybe a little bit later, 3:15. Tornado warning now for you folks in the eastern part of Cherokee County, western part of York County, and northwestern part of Chester County, and still the northwestern part of Union County. And one thing that we noticed when you went back earlier and showed both those cells, Chris, you had the lightning on it. And when you get a lot of lightning like that in clusters, that just gives you an idea, an indication that these thunderstorms are intensifying. They're growing, they're getting stronger. And so the stronger the updrafts, look at the lightning. We didn't have that earlier. So the stronger the more lightning strikes, the stronger the storm, the stronger the updrafts, and the more time you're going to see stronger rotation with both of these cells. Two individual cells, the one now north of Union, heading up to you folks in Surratt. And you are now under a tornado warnings. This red box, this is all a tornado warning for northwestern Union County and all the way up into now the eastern part of Cherokee County and western York County, northwestern Chester County, Chris. So two cells we have to watch very closely.
Two cells, and this one just east of you folks in Union, taking on the strongest right now. And in fact, this rotation really ramping up. It's possible this could be a tornado on the ground. That rotation has really tightened just north of you folks on Highway 49. Adamsburg, you need to be in your safe spot right now. This cell is moving quickly toward the north and east and very likely producing, at the very least, a funnel cloud, possibly a tornado on the ground, because this is some strong rotation. Looking at all sides of it, from some Charlotte radars and GSP, this is becoming a serious situation over parts of Union County, moving toward the north and east. Pinckneyville, as you cross into parts of Cherokee County along Highway 105, if that were to continue on its same path, I'll zoom out of here a bit. It's kind of moving north-northeast, and that rotation has really picked up in intensity there as it's moving quickly toward the north. I will storm track this here for you as it's moving up. North-northeast, again, the southern eastern side of Cherokee County, east of you folks in Gaffney. Adamsburg, 229, Surratt at 236. Watching that very closely. That continues to be the strongest line that is moving through. Getting some broad rotation back here toward this line. Can't let our guard down on that, but so far, the most unstable air and the strongest rotation that we're seeing is here in Union County. A new scan just came through, John. Looks like it's still rotating. It's a bit disorganized there over Adamsburg. Continues to be the strongest rotation in this cell.
Yeah, very, very close. Just south of you folks in Adamsburg. Right here. Here's our rotation. Pretty strong here. And heading toward you folks in Adamsburg and heading up into the southeastern part of Cherokee County. And as you can see, this cell is going to be rain wrapped. So if there is a tornado on the ground, you're not going to be able to see it until it's up on top of you. Look at the circulation that we had. Now, once we get this rotation, it actually is probably maybe one or two scans before the latest one, so it's a little bit behind. But you can see how it's heading toward the northeast, so that's kind of interesting. It's heading for you folks also in Lockhart. It's going to be at least close call. Let's see what that was just even a few minutes ago if you click on it. Right there, Chris, and see what we've got. See how strong that rotation is, if we can. Right about there. 61 miles an hour, pretty strong. That's
impressive outbound and inbound.
Yep, absolutely, very strong. Between Union and Lockhart and heading for you folks in Lockhart, so you need to go to your safe room immediately. We still have that other warning for you folks in Carlisle for the rest of Union County for that cell, but this one in Union, it's pretty interesting. So this one's still pretty broad, but still it's there, just to the northwest of you folks in Carlisle. And then we have this one over here that's just southwest of you folks in Lockhart. So two cells we're watching very, very closely. And so far, that's the only game in town right now. We have the flash flooding, obviously, in the western part of our viewing area, in Oconee County, Pickens County, back into northeastern Georgia and the mountains of North Carolina, where we've had as much as 6-7 inches of rain, and the rivers and streams are running very high. And then this is our last line. Once this moves through, really anything west of this line, you're definitely in the all clear. And we've had no reports of severe weather. This is just from Pickens, heading toward Easley into Anderson, down into Elberton and into Calhoun Falls. This is just heavy showers. But so far, we've had no warnings associated with this. We've had very little circulation. It's really, this is the line right here. This is pretty interesting, Chris. Look how this has separated itself from the main line of very heavy rain that we had earlier, Chris. This is pretty interesting. So this is all the energy back here ahead of this or behind this. And then we have more severe weather. Here's a tornado warning, that little box just south of Greensboro. Pretty interesting that this has actually kind of moved itself away from this band of heavy rain that's moving through Columbia, Chris. So we have 2 tornado warnings which continue for you folks in Union, Cherokee, northwestern Chester, and western part of York counties. Tornado warnings continue for about the next 15 minutes or so. And these are all, look at all these, back to the Midlands, low country, severe thunderstorm warnings, tornado warnings, or the red boxes. Looks like a tornado warning now just northwest of Wilmington. So really, if you have family or friends that want to travel down toward the Midlands toward the coast, you may want to tell them to wait a while. I would not advise going into this area because from the Storm Prediction Center, this is a moderate risk. We don't see this very often. It's very rare here in our area in the Carolinas of looking at a moderate risk for severe weather. So from Charlotte, Columbia, Orangeburg, Charleston, Myrtle Beach, and to Raleigh, and all the way up into Richmond, Virginia. And this area right here is the greatest threat for tornadoes, and not just tornadoes, but possibly large tornadoes that stay on the ground for a long period of time. So 2 cells we have to watch very closely. But if you don't have to travel to the east out of our area, advise not to unless it's an emergency. Back to you, Chris.
Yeah, watching this over Union County, it's going to clip the southern part of Cherokee County as well. Both of these cells taking on a life form of their own. They're not with the main line. They've kind of broken off, which has given it a chance to start to rotate a bit more. Let me show you what's going on over northern Union County. We've still got both of these cells. The warning here goes until 3:15 for the eastern part of Cherokee County. It'll miss you folks there in Gaffney. It's the warning goes until 3:15 for the eastern part of Cherokee County. Let's put it in motion here as it goes toward the north. I'll also turn on the wind speeds. This gives us a look inside of the storm. Some very impressive inbound. That's some significant wind. That's about 60-mile-per-hour winds at least going toward the radar there.
Mm-hmm. Outbound is
68. Yeah,
wow.
Look at that.
Outbound is not as strong, but the inbound, that's a great inflow.
Interesting. It's going right toward the storm. I mean, the storm motion itself, look at that. Yeah, that kind of increases quite a bit. And it's off by itself. This is not in a line. Have to watch that very closely. Also, Anderson County, this is trying to flare up a little bit. Let's see if there's any lightning associated with it. There is. So this one's trying to strengthen a bit. Let's take a look at the wind speeds in it. Behind the cell, possibly some 60-mile-per-hour winds. Nothing severe yet, but that's our next cell to watch as far as strong storms. Nothing tornadic or rotating in that. We'll look at it. It's rotating broadly. So again, south of you folks in Anderson, east of Lake Hartwell. Let's get a new information here, John. I'll let you watch this one over here. Got a confirmed tornado in Orangeburg County. Okay. That one just moved over east of I-26. In case you have family or friends traveling in that way, yeah, that's very strong.
We were watching that one earlier.
Cell that produced a radar confirmed tornado in Orange County, tightening up again. So, again, that's some serious situation off toward the east. Travel that way, not advised whatsoever.
No, it just really, if you don't have to travel down I-26, down through Columbia, through Orangeburg into Charleston, really don't. If you have friends or family, just tell them to if they can hold off at least until all this stuff moves off quickly to the north and northeast away from you, and then you can get the all clear. But I advise stay, because we've actually had 2 cells, Chris. The 2 that we're talking about now actually both traveled right over Interstate 26. Now, whether or not these tornadoes were on the ground at the time, we still haven't gotten that confirmed yet. But still, I just give you some idea. Travel is not really advised right now anywhere around the area, and even in the mountains where we've had so much rain, there's still a chance of some mudslides and landslides. There's still some ponding of water on roadways across our area in the western Carolinas and northeastern Georgia. Incredible inflow between Lockhart and Surratt right now. This right here, incredible inflow but the outflow is not very strong. So, but what can actually happen is sometimes when you have this incredible inflow, it could actually help just spin the sucker really quickly right through here. That's not happening right now, but it could flare up very, very quickly in just a matter of seconds. So incredible, Chris. That's a 62 mile per hour. That's right in through here, isn't it?
Yeah, look at that.
Wow, look at that.
Wrapping right around.
And we got this little notch here. Can you go back to that again, that same frame? The wind velocities for me, Chris? So here's where it is. Now go to the reflectivity radar. So it's right in through here. But you can see the incredible inflow of this right here. Now we're getting a little bit of a little backlash here. Interesting.
Like you said, it's tightening back up.
Starting to tighten back up. We're starting to get this right in through here, which is kind of interesting. And then we got the winds going this way. So it's broad, but it's starting to tighten a little bit and get a little bit of a notch here. So we're going to have to watch this cell very closely. And this is on the way for you folks in the southeastern part of Cherokee County as we go through the next few minutes or so. So warning still continues. Tornado warning still continues. Let's go back to Chris. He's got some new information.
Yeah, just got word from that possible confirmed tornado there in Orangeburg County. I-26 eastbound, like we said, you do not want to be traveling in it. I-26 eastbound, mile marker 150. All lanes eastbound on I-26 are now blocked by downed trees. So I-26 eastbound completely blocked right now, down trees from that possible tornado over Orangeburg. And John, I-26 is taking a beating today. Not a good day to travel. We said it all morning long. Just to avoid traveling in this because it is terrifying to be traveling in these type storms. Confirmed tornado possible there in Orangeburg. Knocked over some trees. Again, mile marker 150 in Orangeburg County. Closed there eastbound, blocked by those trees in the road.
Wow. Let's zoom down into that Orangeburg if we could, Chris. Here's Columbia, here's Interstate 26, and that's the cell probably right in through here. Looks like it's just south, looks like south or southeast of Manning right now. That's some pretty good rotation and heading probably up to you folks in Lake City. That was just off to the southeast and east. That's the cell that went right over Interstate 26. We've got trees knocked over. What was the mile marker, Chris?
Mile marker 150.
150, mile marker 150. Closed from trees on the highway, Interstate 26. That would be probably just maybe very close to you folks in Orangeburg, and then moving over here, and actually very close to Interstate 95, and now it's actually crossed Interstate 95. So some pretty good circulations around. All the red boxes you see, one northwest of Wilmington, those are tornado warnings, the red boxes. The yellow boxes are severe thunderstorm warnings. So we have a tornado warning now well northeast of Charlotte. Here's R2 for you folks in Cherokee and Union counties. We have another warning now just east of Columbia. If we zoom into that, Chris, we got warnings all over the place. Just east of Columbia now. This is one that's cell very close, looks like to Sumter. And that's heading up toward you folks in Bishopville. Well, we have the one, this one's actually paralleling Interstate 95. So if you know of anybody that's traveling Interstate 95 heading north or south, you won't want him to go ahead and look for a rest area, pull off one of the exits, maybe north or south, and just, or especially north, and just pull off the road here and look for a sheltered area, go into a gas station. That's what I do when I get around severe weather and I know it's coming. Get into there where you're sheltered, get away from the hail. But there's not a lot of hail associated with these thunderstorms as much as it is straight line damaging winds and possible tornadoes. So red boxes are all tornado warnings. We still have our warnings here, and that goes until, is it 2:45 still, Chris?
Yeah, 3:15.
It goes, that's right, 3:15 for this one. This one's 2:45. The one down in Union County, which is north now of Whitmire. Two cells, boy, they're real close to each other. And now the circulation's gotten a little bit better. Boy, let's hope so, Chris. Still some incredible inbound, but the outbound's not as strong. That is certainly good news.
Looks like whatever it is crossing Cherokee line.
It's going right across the, right into the Cherokee line here. Very, very close to it. There's Surratt. Interesting, little circulation right here. It goes in waves. It goes through phases, this cell, because it got such a strong inflow that it could easily spin up a tornado very briefly. It could be a funnel cloud or a loft right now because it may be just strong enough for that. But still, the tornado warnings continue, Chris. But at least some good news on both those cells that they've come down, at least for a brief period of time, the intensity.
That's exactly right, John. Right there in Union County, Cherokee County line. Watching that so close because it's moving into an environment that hasn't seen a whole lot of rainfall today. So it is possible that in Cherokee County, this flares back up. big time, as that area hasn't been worked over with as much rainfall today. We're going to watch that closely, watching this line back toward Anderson County. Again, the circulation or any kind of wind in this not concerning at the moment. It's a strong line of storms moving through, some very heavy rainfall that is just adding to the already heavy rain that we already have in parts of Pickens County. Some significant flooding of some streams and creeks all around Oconee and Pickens County, easily up toward Transylvania and Henderson County, up toward Buncombe County. This is a serious situation as far as landslides are concerned. Let me show you the rainfall totals, because this is just a dire situation, as some of these areas have had 5 to 7 inches of rain. There along the south and eastern facing slopes of the mountains, just continue to see rain all day long. So we've got the French Broad, we've got the Swannanoa River there in Buncombe County. Both are spilling their banks in many areas. An active alert there for Buncombe County. Many areas in and around western North Carolina under a flash flood warning until 6 p.m. tonight. But the tornadic threat there, John, continues to exist for Union County. This cell and everything basically in the eastern part of the upstate all the way through the I-77 corridor continues to be very volatile as far as an active tornado situation is concerned. In fact, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 active tornado warnings across the Carolinas. We were concerned about the potential for a tornado outbreak, and it looks like that is possibly occurring right now. Let me put Live Super Doppler 4 HD in motion. This line that is back toward, I mean, that is just really taking on a life right there, John.
Wow.
Kind of whipping up toward the north. Solid line right there. You track that one.
Solid line right through Manning all the way to Sumter. And this is all heading eventually toward you folks in Lake City, Florence, Bishopville. This whole line with embedded little supercells possibly producing tornadoes. One here close to Sumter and the other one close to Manning. And both these are moving quickly. And unfortunately, this line is moving right along. This is Interstate 95. So, I mean, it is coming down extremely hard, and possibly we've got some more information from Chris now.
Yeah, good news for you folks in Union County. The threat appears to be over with. The National Weather Service saying they are going to expire the warning for Chester and Union County. The rotation is weak in Cherokee County. They will keep the warning for Cherokee County, but Union, you are about to be dropped. That is good news for you. We'll see this warning fall off here any second now. Let me go show you the rotation. You folks in Union County, you can come out of your safe spot. The circulation is now centered over Cherokee County, very near Surratt. That's the same cell that produced very strong rotation southeast of the city of Union, pushing up Highway 105 here now into Cherokee County. The eastern half of Cherokee County, east of Gaffney, and eventually the I-85 corridor. We'll have to watch that as it moves up toward parts of Cleveland and Gaston counties in North Carolina. But this is a strong cell as it's moving north, thankfully showing signs of becoming weaker. Let's turn on Live Super Doppler 4 HD. You can see a couple of cells kind of merged with it, which could be impacting its rotation there. But good news for Union County as we watch that possibly for Cherokee and York County. That warning will continue for about another 15 minutes or so, 12 miles northeast of Union, John. That continues to be into Surratt, basically right around Surratt, the strongest rotation.
Exactly, that one. So that's certainly good news. If you pull on back just a little bit, Chris, you can see that when you were talking, you said that warning's going to expire. This one's going to expire here pretty quickly. This one, where does this go to? This is another one that's in, is this the one they're going to cancel, Chris?
Yeah, that one went till 2:45.
That goes to 2:45. That's good. They're going to cancel that here in literally a matter of 2 minutes. So that'll be gone. So that's good news. Our only concentration right now is the one in the western part of York County and eastern part of Cherokee County with that circulation. But so far, it's just a very broad circulation, and that has weakened considerably. And let's hope that continues so they can actually lift this warning. And they'll probably lift it here shortly. And that means then all the warnings in our area will have expired. Let's show the radar one more time, Chris. If we can, we'll pull on back. Give everybody some idea that this one line that's moving through here, it's very intense moving into Cherokee County. It's especially just east of you folks in Gaffney. And then this is our last line right here. Some thunderstorms moving through Pickens, Anderson County, down into Abbeville counties. All this is now moving quickly off to the east and northeast. This is going to be very, very heavy rain, lots of lightning, some gusty winds, maybe even some small hail associated with this line because the upper level low is still off to our west and northwest. So far, we've had no severe weather from this line, but it is producing extremely heavy rain, unfortunately, as Chris mentioned, over in the area that's already saturated as far as the ground, because in recent rains this morning, we've had anywhere from 3 to 6+ inches of rain. And so all the rivers and streams are running very high. By the way, all these green shaded areas, light green, this is all flash flood warnings which continue. All the rivers are running extremely high. They're really worried about, in the mountainous areas right now, a potential for more mudslides and maybe even some landslides. Look at these are all flash flood warnings that continue this afternoon through this evening. So here's the active warning. So no severe thunderstorm warnings. The only warning we have right now, oh, good news, they canceled it for Cherokee County. That's good news, Chris. And this one's going to expire here in a matter of about 3, 2, gone. All right, so we're in good shape right now as far as there's no tornado warnings. The tornado watch still continues until 5 o'clock this afternoon from Greenville County eastbound, basically toward the coast. Flash flood warnings. Be concerned if you have to travel in through the mountainous areas. Watch out for mudslides. Rivers and streams will continue to rise as we go through. These are all the storm reports we've had so far. And Chris and I will watch the situation very closely for you as we go through this afternoon. We're going to go back to regularly scheduled programming right now. And if a warning does occur, we'll be on within seconds.
We now join our regularly scheduled program already in progress.
159